already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Right, left, then left, right. I seen him set a word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in his square so I see who's best. Right, left, then left, right. I seen him set a word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in his square so I see who's best. Right, left, then left, right. I seen him set a word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in his square so I see who's best.
Before we start the podcast today, I just want to give a little shout out to one of the sponsors of the show, Portland Nutrition Corner. For those who don't know, I work there part-time Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2. We got everything. As you see on the homepage on the website here, pncmain.com, amino acids, fat burners, fish oils, general health, greens formulas. I mean, it's all there. We got it all. Pre-workouts, proteins, sleep aids, all of it. Brands, we got all the brands that are popular in the industry. Axe and Sledge, 5% Nutrition, I-Prevail Supplements. Free shipping of orders over $99. And if we don't have it on the website, give a call. I'll bring up the phone number right now. And we can take phone orders and have it sent to you. Shoot us an email on socials, PNC Main on Instagram. Give us a follow. Come in and say what's up. Once again, Portland, Maine Nutrition Corner, 85 Western Ave, South Portland, Maine. Enjoy the show.
You're like, you knew I would be sitting here waiting.
For sure.
Ready to
She'll be the first one in.
Yeah.
I love it, though. I love it. I can always depend on you. I can count on you.
If I'm one of those people, like, yeah, if I'm not here on time, send out a search
probably
party.
like, yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm
yeah,
in a ditch somewhere.
for real. So, how are you? How you been?
I'm good. When did you guys get back?
Literally earlier today. So we probably around like 2:00 or so.
Okay.
We drove in, but it's not far from us. It's like from Portland. It's about 3.5 hours, and we live about 30 minutes north of that. So
that's
it's
not
not
far at all.
far. No, it's pretty quick. And honestly, Michael's parents live about that distance, but northern Maine. So it's like we're kind of going that distance a lot anyways. And it just feels like a quick drive, you know?
It is. For some reason, I was thinking Connecticut would be way further, but
You would think, but it's really not. Like I mean, I kind of, honestly, I obviously live up here, but I feel like all these, all the New England states, it's like, it's really not that far to get to, because it's so short and like condensed,
Yeah.
and they're not very big states. So, but yeah.
to,
I mean, you're a New Englander yourself.
huh?
So you're a New Englander yourself.
I know. I forget that sometimes, but
Right? Well, how long ago again did you move out there?
Well, I've only been in Arizona for, God, time flies. I haven't been in Vermont for like 10 years.
Oh, okay. What brought you out to Arizona?
Well, I went to Florida first, and then Oklahoma, and then Arizona. And
Oklahoma. I feel like that's a funky one.
it is a funky one.
Any particular reason for there? Were you following anything, or just kind of like
Just a boyfriend.
Don't you
It's a long story.
But, I mean, at least you can say like you experienced somewhere new. You know,
that is something I'm very grateful for, because like I'm such a homebody. I honestly don't know that I ever would have left otherwise.
Yeah. So like with Florida for school or whatever.
No, that was where he was from.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah.
Got a girl.
Hey guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Just talking about moving around the country and what brought us to where and why. And boyfriends.
Yeah.
Are you
originally
Are you originally from Florida, Alyssa? I forget. or did you move down there?
So, I mean, yeah, I was born in upstate New York.
Mhm.
But then my parents moved to Florida when I was like 2. So
Okay.
I've been in Florida my whole life.
Yeah.
In like I think it was 2017, I moved out to Utah for a little while. That's the whole like moving for a boyfriend kind of deal. Not
Yeah.
Ben, somebody else. Um, so we went to Utah and then we went over to Colorado. So between the two of those, I was out west for like 5-ish years, 4.5, 5 years,
Mhm.
and then moved back. I moved back to Florida.
Yeah.
So this is like
Nice.
my
I
home.
moved back
So
to Florida, she says.
yes, me.
That was the split there.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm boring. I've only ever lived in Maine my entire life, my whole 30 years. So, and certainly like the traveling happened, like later in life too. So I haven't really traveled a whole lot, up
Yeah.
until recent bodybuilding really, and Kaylee, welcome.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Talking about traveling and kind of what got us to travel where. And I know you've done quite a bit of traveling actually. You've kind of bebopped around a little bit.
I've done a decent amount. I'd say I just heard you say like, bodybuilding has brought most to travel into your
Yeah.
life. I'd say pretty similar here. I think I also heard to hear someone moved to Florida. Did I hear
Yes,
that?
Alyssa.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So I moved to Florida like right after graduating college for like a really short period of time and then moved right back to Maine. So mostly just been in Maine, been to Florida, went to Europe once in like high school.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was gonna say, because you were originally I wasn't sure actually. I don't think I've ever asked you if you were originally from Maine, but you are.
Yeah, I'm from Maine, from like the mid-coast area.
Oh, okay, got you. Nice. Well, nice little introduction here. We have IFBB Figure Pro Kaylee Walker joining us this evening, who actually is also, obviously, as we just discussed, another fellow Maine competitor, which is really cool because, as you and I know, there's not a whole lot of us up here.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. But Alyssa, totally hate to be annoying, but any chance you can like flip your phone so like the screen's like
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
yeah. And it should flip maybe. Oh wait, unless you stay sideways.
Hold on. My flip screen was locked, so now this should work.
Dude, we've
Did
been
it
having
work?
technical
Okay, yeah, we're good. We're good.
You're good. I will say, like Michael's last episode, he had like a technical difficulty where like the entire like computer screen glitched out, and like apparently the recording still went on though. And I think it was like our camera was like acting funny or something like that. So if I like glitch out and like I'm frozen, I think I just have to exit the studio and come back in. But you guys should still be able to like do the thing, and it should still be recording. So just a heads up if that happens, I will come back. But wait, so I think we should. What was that, Jessica?
That main Wi-Fi, I tell you what.
You know what, man? We just got the fiber optic stuff up here. Okay, we're in the program, so sweet. But Kaylee, why don't you kind of give us a little intro about like, I mean, I obviously just labeled you IFBB Figure Pro, but you know, kind of give us a little bit about yourself and maybe how long you've been competing, what you did before that, kind of get a good kind of who you are, what you do.
Perfect. Okay, so yes, I'm Kaylee Walker, IFBB Figure Pro. I started competing in bodybuilding in 2021. I started in OCB, and then I did the Alpha Elite Summer Shredding in Texas. And then I did one NPC show, which was the Long Island Championship. I won my class there, which qualified me for nationals. I ended up hiring my coach like a month later in December of 2021, and I've been with Andrew since then. And we were doing like an off season, and he one day was just like, you know what, let's just go for nationals. Let's see what happens. And that's when I got my pro card in 2022, the following year. Then I did my pro debut season in 2023, which I did Tampa and Texas. I made first call out at Texas, which was super exciting. Definitely like did not expect that my first season going into like the pro shows. And now I am in prep for my second pro season. So I'm pretty excited about that. Prior to bodybuilding, I competed in like CrossFit. I was very, very into CrossFit. Just in like the read like the area like in Maine, which is really fun to do like partner competitions. And I don't know, I've been really into like fitness my whole life. I thought I wanted to bodybuild when I was in high school, so it's been like a long time coming. So
Very cool. So like with the CrossFit to bodybuilding, was there, well, you just said that like since high school you kind of had like a liking for bodybuilding itself, but like was there anything that, I mean, obviously you started CrossFit first, but was there anything that kind of brought you to like, you know what, I am going to try this whole bodybuilding thing? And or was it just kind of you've always were going to do that, it was just a matter of like trying something else first? Or
I think I always wanted to do bodybuilding, but I don't know, I feel like almost kind of being from me, and I was like, oh, a girl like me will never get on stage. Like it just kind of seemed like so far out there. Like I followed a couple like YouTubers and they lived in like LA and like bigger, like, or in like one in Texas and it's like more populated areas with more bodybuilders. So I'm like, oh, like my YMCA jam won't like bring me to a bodybuilding. So I just like kind of, I don't know. I think I kind of like just dabbled in CrossFit just as like another, I don't know, just trying something different. Like, because I'm all for like fitness. There's so many different ways to be in fitness and whatnot, and just finding what's best for you. So I loved CrossFit. I kind of dabbled in it. And then honestly, when the pandemic hit, I kind of motivating yourself to do CrossFit on your own is like very, very hard. So I was like, this is perfect time to like get back into bodybuilding. Because I had like a few like dumbbells and stuff at my house. So I just started doing like lots of like just at home workouts. And then as soon as gyms open back up, I'm like, no, I think bodybuilding is the route I want to go down. I don't see myself getting back into like CrossFit classes and whatnot. My body felt a lot better not doing it. My shoulders feel so much better not doing it. So,
Yeah.
I honestly like seeing something like that CrossFit stuff. I like, we obviously like we're athletes and stuff like that, but that's just like such a different breed of like athleticism, and like just the cardio alone of doing something like that. It, like I would be gassed within like probably 10 minutes of doing one of those workouts, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely like a challenge. And I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of like repetitive movement for your like shoulders and elbows. And it just like, it's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So that's interesting because like, of course, like with bodybuilding, we talk all the time about just kind of, you know, injury prevention and, you know, kind of getting quote unquote like older and like joints starting to ache and hurt. But, you know, yeah, something like that, I feel like can definitely fast track you on the way to, you know, not feeling so great in those departments. And I'm honestly, again, like super impressed by the people that can kind of keep up with it and, you know, do what they got to do to keep their bodies primed for something like that, because it does not look easy at all.
For sure.
So obviously I know Kaylee personally, like I've seen her and whatnot. Would you attribute to your abs being from CrossFit, or have you always had a good set of abs? I feel like everyone who comes from CrossFit just has freaking nutty looking abs. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Before I did bodybuilding, I had abs, so I would say like some of it was from CrossFit. Some of it's because I probably overtrained my abs for like I don't know. I like I've always enjoyed training core like since I was in high school. I remember like I like scrolled really far back on my Instagram and I saw like a post where it was like did 200 sit-ups today. Like I just have always been. So I think it's a mix of CrossFit and
a mix between the two.
Core. I have to like cut back on that because it's like a little too much.
I would say you honestly, like for you guys that don't know, I'm gonna try and pull up. I've never done the screen sharing thing, so I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna pull up Kaylee's page here if I can. How do I do this? Screen share.
Kaylee, do you still like doing abs? Like, or do you find, because I know for me, I find that I'm like, well, not so much now because I'm not training upper body with like doing wellness, but when I was doing like women's physique, I'm like, the last thing I want to do after I just trained for, you know, so long is like to do abs. But
I love doing them.
I still do. Yeah.
I love, and then I love like the like weighted ab stuff. Like I don't know. It's my favorite, one of my favorite things to train. And I feel like no one ever says that, but like I love like I like make it a point to like I have to do it. Like I love doing it. So
every day, do you do it after every training session?
No, I cut it back to I usually just do it on my like pull days. I usually do pull and abs. And then I do like vacuums every day. I try to do vacuums every day. So
Yeah.
I used to train abs every day.
Definitely makes me feel like I should train them more.
Well, I'm over here like that's what I need. Gonna text you.
Abs come with leanness. That's my motto.
I told myself for so long, and now looking back, I'm like, no, I wish I was one of those girls who was like always doing abs instead
Right.
of like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't have direct abs, but I do very bad.
I don't know. I don't know why I like it's like abs are really challenging. So I think that's why I like doing
Yeah.
it. But in a different way than everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain.
And more of a battery acid type of.
Oh, can you guys see what I got going on here?
Oh,
Did it screen
you
share?
did it.
Yay, cool. Okay, so for everybody, this is Kaylee's Instagram. I do want to pull up this shot right here because I absolutely freaking love this shot on you.
I remember, I think it was Nationals. That was when I first saw you, and I was just like, this girl gets nutty condition. I was so
legs, dude. I've always looked at your legs and just been like, damn, like that's the level of conditioning like I need to get to.
Yeah, it's definitely that's I know like part of the reason why I was really drawn towards working with Andrew is I saw that he always got girls like really conditioned. And so I knew that like working with him was gonna like be a good match for me for what I was looking to bring and push me to that level. So
and for those who don't know, she's referring to Andrew Barry.
Andrew Barry.
Yeah.
Are you someone?
Okay. He goes to my gym.
Oh,
I know
yes.
Andrew. Yeah.
Really? Oh,
He's
that's right. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I totally forgot him from there.
That's now. That's like that's like this last weekend. So
oh yes. So funny enough, Kaylee actually was down at Montanari Brothers Gym, Connecticut, that Michael and I just went to this weekend, that last weekend. But yeah, dude, you're looking freaking lean. This is recent too, right? Yeah, 2 days ago.
That was the other day. Oh, that's a video though.
Oh, look at that back.
Are you someone that has to push like diet and cardio really hard to get that level of conditioning, or yeah?
I think so. Yeah. Calories definitely got pretty low, and cardio is. Yeah, we switched it up. I've never done HIIT before with the prep, and so we're trying HIIT this week. See how it goes.
Nice.
Cardio is already getting pretty high, but
are these pretty? Oh, this is actually from December. So you're obviously this looks like breaking 160. So I presume you're probably down in there.
My weight actually hasn't changed in a while. I'm still like 169, but
I mean, well, that's good because you're definitely like looking leaner too. Heck yeah, so exciting. Exciting when you kind of can start.
How far into prep are you?
I started prep Thanksgiving week. We don't have like an exact show picked out just because I feel like I chose to prep in the beginning of the season just so there's so many more show options. So there's like less stress about like I have to be ready for like this date. So like if I happen to not be ready, there's like a show basically every other weekend that I can move to. So like the least amount of stress possible right now is like key.
Yeah, that's good. I like that approach. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jess.
When was your last show?
Texas in 2023. So it was mid-August 2023.
Yeah.
I thought so. You took the entire 2024 off. What was your main focus during that? Sorry, I just kind of jumped right in front of you. Sorry.
No, let's go right ahead. That was actually one of the questions that somebody asked me was like, what is everybody's kind of current focus in their most recent off season? So yeah, Kaylee, what were you really focusing on there?
Honestly, this last like my off season, I kind of some of it I just wanted to like live life and kind of like a little bit of like a mental like reset. And I think that's why this prep is going so much better because I went 3 seasons kind of back to back to back and like giving myself a little bit of like a break definitely helped me like be able to push harder right now. And I think my body's responding really well. So it was a lot of like mental health kind of taking a step back and just enjoying life and training. And then like physique wise, I definitely trying to like grow my back and my like quad sweep are like the two places I really wanted to focus on. So still pushing that now though.
I think that's really cool though, because I feel like we always constantly talk about, obviously like the physical things that we focus on in an off season or what have you going into a prep, but it's like the mental focuses sometimes definitely need their own, kind of dedicated space to be like, okay, you know what, like I am just kind of going to dial things back. I'm going to take a little reset. Kind of similar to me, like right after nationals, it was, 2 weeks before, a week before Christmas. So it was like the focus was like, getting back into family things and like family routine and kind of giving back to, Michael and Quinn after, a long prep. And I think that those seasons within the seasons of bodybuilding are super important too. And I think that kind of goes under, whatever the word is, just undervalued,
Yeah, I'm so glad I took some time off. Like I don't think jumping into another season in 2024 would have done me any good. I think I would have been at like the same level that I was already at in 2023. So I think taking that year is able to like push me to like the next level for me. So
for sure, especially when you can kind of look at the approach as like now you're excited to do this. You know what I mean? Like now it doesn't feel like an obligation or like you're forcing yourself to do something that maybe your body doesn't necessarily want to do at that time, And I don't know, it just really allows you to appreciate the, what we do and like how it is a choice to do it. And you're like, I am choosing to do this. So, taking the time to be able to equip yourself with those, just again, like that mental space of like, I'm focused, I'm in it, like literally. And then that way too, you can tell yourself like I gave the loved ones around me or family or something like that, like the time that they needed to. And like, I was able to kind of, debrief yourself or what have you. And I don't know, I just think that's like a really not something that like a lot of people focus on or try to do. And they always assume like we're constantly go. And like, it's constant bodybuilding constantly all the time. And it really, it's just what you see, it's obviously that's what we do. And that's what we post about because that's at the end of the day, what we're trying to promote. But like these resets are super important too. So.
Yeah. It also gave me time to like focus on like my coaching and like growing my business and stuff, which I think if I jumped into another prep, I wouldn't have had the time like back to back to like put into that. So there's just other aspects of bodybuilding as well that I feel like I wanted to grow that I needed that time off to do. So.
Yep.
And what do you do? I mean, I know, but what do you do for work? What's the kind of day-to-day outside of bodybuilding?
So my like full-time job, I do like B2B sales and interior design is my full-time. I also coach some lifestyle and like natural bodybuilding clients. And then I also work at Portland Nutrition Corner on Saturdays. So
oh my gosh, you are busy.
I'm really busy. This is the first prep I'm not bartending though, so I'm very excited about that. Every other prep I bartended until like 4:00 in the morning, at least 3 days a week. I was even before nationals, I was bartending on peak week, and it was
oh my god,
like.
You talk about some of the stuff you went through, like like what are some crazy stories you have bartending while bodybuilding? Because I know you have some crazy ones. I don't know what you want to share, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know, just like the comments you get from drunk people as like a muscular female is just like they're funny. I think like the most memorable stuff from bartending though is like arm wrestling people for money. Like every weekend, bachelor parties would come in and I had $100 minimum to arm wrestle. Like, and no matter what, if I won or lost, like I was like, I get to keep the $100. So, and I'd have like just a bachelor party just throwing money down. We did the hurricane shot too, where I got to like throw money and like slap people in the face.
Crazy.
So that became a big thing. I have a ton of pictures flexing my abs with like bachelorette parties. Like, yeah, there was all kinds of like silly stuff like that. Cause I worked at a country bar that was like really bachelorette party-esque, like type vibes all the time. So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So would you say that you left that job to focus more on bodybuilding because you felt it wasn't conducive to what you do, or did just life lead you in like a different direction, or maybe a better opportunity came up or something like that? Or
I mean, kind of a mix of it all. I think that it was definitely a good choice to step away from it. Like bartending, like not getting enough sleep on prep is just like not worth it.
That's
So
a big part. Yeah.
I think it definitely it led me to focus more again on like my coaching business, because I also, if I continued to bartend, like I would not have had like the energy to focus on that. So it allowed me to focus on like so many different aspects of my life. So it was a fun job, but definitely I think I was there for 3 years. So I think that was good. It was a good time. Yeah. It was, I miss all my coworkers. It was such a fun time, but I'm glad it.
I don't know. We kind of talked about it last time too. Like, I'm sure you almost feel that like that had a place for you somewhere in this journey. You know what I mean? Just to be able to, again, like appreciate, like, you know, I'm sure you think back, like, how the hell did I do that? Like, how did I even function, or how was I even able to, you know, get up and go do fasted cardio after a night of bartending or something like that? So to really be able to, you know, I don't know, look back and be like, I needed that to kind of help me kind of push the hardest. Like I can push hard, you know what I mean? Like if I was doing that, then like I can definitely do this freaking 60 minutes of cardio or something.
That's
you know?
what I tell myself now. Like anytime I'm like, if I ever am like, oh, I don't want to do cardio, I'm like, I used to do cardio on like way less sleep. Like I was like, I can do it. Like it's nothing. So no, it definitely helps. I also think that it was kind of fun because I had a couple like regulars and they were always just like hyping me up. And when the prep brain gets real and you're like, I'm not lean enough. They're like, obviously I don't know a lot about bodybuilding, but they were always just like, girl, you look so good. I was like, oh, it's like a confidence boost all the time. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Oh, my computer might be doing the thing. It's just like glitched out a little. So you guys might have to carry it to bed. But just to obviously bring it back to what the initial question was for the other ladies in the room, what is your kind of focus right now for the off season? Like, what's the big, got to do this, or what do we got? We kind of talked about it a little bit, I think, in the first podcast, but
yeah, I'll go. So right now, like I am in off season, but we're kind of like starting to transition a little bit. It's not prep, but it's kind of like pre-prep. I don't know, you know, whatever you want to call it. We're like kind of starting to clean things up. Like now I have literally just like yesterday, we just changed it to where I'm kind of like carb cycling a little bit, like less carbs on, it's like 3 days low and then 1 day high. So doing a little bit of like a cycle there, just trying to clean things up. I'm getting married in March. So we're kind of like trying to get me just feeling really good and not like that kind of like fluffy off season feel for my wedding. And then that'll have us in a good spot, like really actually going into prep so that I can be ready for like shows in July. It's kind of like what we're aiming for, possibly Chicago to be the first one. But like as far as off season goes, what we've been focusing on is just to continue like building my mainly glutes and hamstrings. My quads are like in a pretty good spot. So for wellness, obviously just like getting that disproportionate look, since I was doing women's physique before this. Like my last women's physique show was in 2022. So still like really trying to like do nothing with my upper body, letting that like come down as much as possible and then grow my legs so that like if my upper body does not get as small as it needs to, which like I don't think it will, at least my legs are huge and then my upper body will look smaller. So that's kind of the main goal right now.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Jessica, what about you? What are you, because you're apparently in it for a long off season.
Yeah. I've got to make my front shot match my back shot. So, yeah, really, I mean, honestly, everything needs to grow, but I'm really hoping to target quads and delts. But, yeah.
Are you doing, how's your split looking for something like that? Have you changed it from what you were doing before nationals?
Yeah, so I love what I'm doing right now. So I'm doing, it's 2 on, 1 off, except for when it's 3 on, 1 off.
Mhm.
Like a pull plus legs day, and then a push day, and then a rest day, and then pull plus legs, push, and then a leg. There's 2 different leg days. One's
Okay.
one's a quad focused, one's more ham focused, but I'm still throwing some quad. So it's pretty high frequency on both legs and push.
Mhm.
It's not as complicated as I'm making it sound. It's just,
Yeah.
but no, I really like it, especially
legs and shoulders.
yeah, I really like hitting a little bit of legs on a back day. Like it's really every day feels very hard.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
yeah.
Honestly, it's crazy because like Michael and I were talking. He's like, Jessica from your podcast, I know she says that she needs like a year plus of like an off season, but I really swear she could probably go into a pro show by the end of this year and be able to place top 5. And I agree with that. I don't think
I mean, it's sweet, but I just, I don't know.
I know we look at ourselves and like we're so critical, obviously, but I swear, like you're a freaking big girl. Like you've got the delts. I mean, obviously, again, like we're always constantly growing. Like we have to like consistently like be adding until you get to a point, obviously, where you can't. But I don't know. I feel like you could definitely do like a pro show by the end of this year and look like you belong. And that's just me from what I saw. But
you know what's funny is like I when I saw myself in like the overall lineup, it was like, you were the biggest girl up there. And I saw pictures and I was like, I was.
Yeah.
But like looking at it, and I know it's not, I'm not saying it's size that matters. But it was reassuring to see myself in that lineup that I didn't look like I got the floor totally swept with me. But to be honest with you, it kind of ties into what Kaylee said too, is like, I'm really looking forward to, like, I'm not necessarily going to take time off, but I want to go home and see my mom and just not worry about it. And I just want to have like, I love training so much. I'm really looking forward to just having a long off season and travel a little bit, maybe go to a couple shows, like get outside of my comfort zone because I'm such a homebody all the time. And just like, so So
yeah, and that was gonna be like what I was gonna follow that up with, is like, but I'm sure it's just, you've talked about like you're saying you have some friends that are doing pro shows this year that you want to attend, and being able to go to that without having that like back of your head pressure of like, but I really gotta make sure I'm on top of my shit because I'm gonna be getting ready to do this here pretty soon. And it does kind of allow you that time and space to, enjoy that stuff without having that extra just kind of noise, but just saying, it's not like, just to throw it out there, it's not like you need that much time, because I definitely think you could get on stage and, a Texas pro, a Tampa pro, and look like you belong. So,
because the other thing too is like, we just got off stage.
I know.
So it's like by the time we take some time off, and then it's like, it's almost like immediately jumping back into that, so it's like, I think this way it'll kind of help us get on a schedule where kind of like what Kaylee is doing, and some like middle of the year shows instead of always being on this schedule where it's like the end of the year.
Right.
I'm glad that I got onto that cycle because I did December nationals too when I got my pro card. So I didn't have that long of a break off between December nationals and when I started prepping for August. So and then like there's just also, I mean, I haven't fully looked at the schedule for this year, but I remember when I competed, there wasn't as many shows in the August, September time. So it was like, okay, you could do the Texas and then you had to wait over a month until like, so I don't know. I don't know if
did they just move shows around recently? Like
I think the shows are kind of, I think there's also more shows than there were the year I did it, but there's also more shows in like May, June, July, I feel like, than the rest of the year.
Yeah. Nice.
What about you,
Chey? For me, it's honestly, I still feel like I'm at the point where it's kind of like an all over focus. I mean, definitely it's going to be like density in my back. I know that's like a really big thing for me. It's kind of having more of that 3D off the back look. just kind of adding more tissue back there. So we are doing kind of like a back day, and then I do some touch-up back movements on, what would that be? So Monday we do, it was arms, but we can't do arms before back anymore. So it's back, and then Tuesday's arms. Wednesday we do quads, then we have a rest, and then we do a push, which is like kind of like my second, or I do like a touch-up shoulder on my arm day. So then we do like a push with my focus being more chest, or my focus being more delt, Michael's being more chest. And then we have hamstrings on Saturday. But now that you said that, Jess, I feel like I might want to throw in like touch up back on like maybe like a leg day or something like that. Cause I'm trying to figure out like get more like volume and stuff, but
I'll have to show you I'll send you what I'm doing. I didn't want to take up, I could probably take like the entire podcast, like just talking about it. And I was like, I better cut myself off before I, so, but yeah, we'll chat.
Yeah, no, I love that. But I think really it's just, I don't know, from like what Michael's take was too, from seeing me on stage with some of these girls, and obviously like seeing the other classes that I didn't get to see on stage and everything. Definitely like some size in my arms, delts, and back probably. And then really I still think like for my legs, like I still haven't quite reached the separation that like I want to see. Like it's definitely was there a lot more than it has been in any of my other shows, which is good. And that was kind of the goal, but I still think it's probably just adding more density to kind of help that leanness come along. You know what I mean? And like, honestly, for me, it's probably just not getting as fat in an off season. And you know what I mean? It takes, for me particularly, like it takes so long for the fat to come off my legs. So it's like, if I'm not getting as heavy in an off season and kind of can stay around like my comfortable, like for me, it's like 175 is like where I'm comfortable, I would say. Definitely like no more than like 177, like 180. That'd probably be like pushing the envelope a little bit, but yeah, trying to be a little bit more dialed back in an off season, so that way prep isn't so long and strenuous. Because then like by the end of it, you know what I mean? Like I prepped for like, this last prep was probably truly closer to like a 30-week prep, like really cleaning things up at like week 30 and like focusing on it as if it were a prep, and then probably really starting it at like 24 weeks out. But by the end of it, like my body's just so like, we don't want to do this anymore. You know what I mean? And like, it becomes that much harder to kind of lose the body fat in those problem areas. So that's honestly probably my biggest focus going into 2026 will be just not getting as heavy in an off season. Yeah.
Yeah.
30 weeks is a lot of stress on your body to like
and mental
point where like, you know what I mean, like things are efficient, and like not to say that like I ever care to be at like a 16-week prep, you know, like I feel like to me that would still give me anxiety of like 16 weeks feels like it's nothing, you know what I mean? But you know, like yeah, maybe like actually starting a prep at like 20 weeks out and like being able to get there in time, you know, and not having that worry or that stress. But I think that'll kind of be the case this next time around, and you know, really focusing on it this off season and leading into 2026. But which is crazy how it seems like not that far away talking about it, but just gonna try and stay in the now and enjoy now before really thinking about that. But yeah, I don't know, but it's been like go. I feel like it's constantly go with bodybuilding. If it's not yours, like, I mean, with you, Alyssa, too, I'm sure, like between you and Ben, you know, like if one of you isn't in prep, the other one is, or, you know, vice versa, or we're both in prep. And, you know, that's always fun too. But
yeah,
and
definitely.
planning a wedding, I'm sure it's so much.
Oh my gosh. Right now, I am just like out of my mind, honestly, because I told them like in a couple of episodes ago, I just started a new job in November, which it's great because it's remote. So I am at home. So that does like relieve a lot of my stress, but I'm still learning. You know, there's still things that I'm like running into where I'm not totally sure and I have to, you know, get help or whatever. So I'm like still learning this new job. I'm also doing coaching, same, just like lifestyle or like natural competitors. What else? Yeah, now the wedding, and like now like starting to plan out a season. So it's crazy. It's a lot. And then you know, same with Ben. He's going to be competing this year. And
he looks good. He looks really.
I was gonna say, didn't I just
thank you.
On one of the bodybuilding channels posted him up.
Yeah, they did. I forget which page it was that just posted him. Maybe like Buys and Tries or Bodybuilders. One of those.
I literally just saw it and I was like, oh, I didn't realize it was that gonna compete that soon because he looks
yeah, he had a big year last year. Like he turned pro at Junior USA's, and then he competed in the Hurricane Pro in St. Pete. So he did his pro debut like just like a couple of months later, and he got third. So like this year is like, okay, we're trying to get you to the Olympia. So I'm super excited. This could be like a huge year.
So
Wedding, Olympia, maybe.
He's gonna be on stage like very soon after your wedding, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I was wondering what was he doing?
Yeah,
like
because the cutoff I think for Olympia is September. I don't remember the exact date. Somewhere mid-September or somewhere in there. He has a couple of shows in mind, like in August kind of time frame. August. Yeah. So
his quads look insane already.
His quads are nuts. And his quads like stay striated too.
Is that what it is?
Like,
okay.
Yeah, no, they do. Even in off season, like right now, they're striated. So it's, I don't know. He's crazy.
And what's crazy is he's still so young. He's what, 25, 26?
He's 26. Yeah.
That's insane, dude. Like you have like, that's freaking like, I wish like, I don't know, to be at that point at 25, 26 years old, like be looking at potentially going, like you have so much life left in doing this and you already look that good, you know, like that's such a good, like a good place to be, I feel like for him. And I'm sure it's really exciting.
Yeah, no, it is. It is super exciting. Yeah, I don't know. Like there's so many things to keep in mind too. Cause like I'm 10 years older than him. So, so I'm like, all right, well, I'm like 36. So we gotta like the kid thing, like comes to mind too. So it's like trying to plan all these things out around like bodybuilding and, you know, like the timelines and everything. So it's a lot, but it's fun.
So you guys are going to be prepping at the same time then?
This year, well, last year we did too. Yeah.
I was going to say, because I feel like I've seen you guys both relatively lean in some photos previously. So you've done it before.
Yeah.
So obviously it went fine enough to the point where you're like, yeah, we can do this again, you know, and with the pressure being kind of an Olympia qualification. So that must be really, and again, I feel like that's few and far between the people that can do that and, you know, feel like they can, whatever, you know, get through the day or, you know, at the end of the day, like still love each other and want to be together and everything.
No, we handled it well. Like last year was our first, I mean, we've been together since 2022. So like July 2022. And then 2023, neither of us did anything. Like we both just were in like off seasons. Well, I wasn't even in really an off season. 2023 was like a weird year for me. I was like not even sure what I was going to do with bodybuilding anymore because I was in this weird phase of like, do I want to stay in women's physique? Do I want to go to wellness? Do I want to bodybuild at all? Like it was a weird year for me. So he was in like a real off season. I was in like a mental just confusion. But yeah, so 2024 was our first year like actually prepping together. But it went well. Yeah, there was no fighting, nothing like that. Just, you know, we were both kind of just dead with each other.
But I'm sure you had like an understanding of just like, okay, we're both here, we're both doing this. So yeah, let's just we can call it a night, you know, eat our meals, go to bed, you know.
Yeah. And we're both good about like if one of us is in a weird mood or just not really in like a talkative mood or whatever, it's like, hey, like if I'm being quiet, it's just I just don't have anything to say or I'm just like really tired or whatever. So that way there's no like assumptions that something's wrong or, you know, anything like that. So I think it's just a communication thing, just even like overly communicating.
Yeah.
That seems to help.
Yeah, for sure. Have either you, Jessica or Kaylee, been in a prep with a significant other, whether they're in bodybuilding or not? Kaylee, yes. Jessica, no. So you haven't dated anybody while you've been bodybuilding, Jessica?
Nope.
No, okay. Solo dolo. I think probably for the best. It's just you, just your own focus. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about somebody else or But Kaylee, you said yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Yeah.
find like, so I mean, obviously, like I know that significant other is not a bodybuilder. Like, what do you find works for you when, I don't know, when you are in those kind of low weeks of prep and like maybe you're not in the most talkative mood, or, like, is there any like tips or tricks for somebody who might be in the same position where they're a bodybuilder and their spouse isn't, or?
I mean, so yeah, he kind of understands because he has done a bodybuilding show before. So he like kind of gets it. It was like a long time ago.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's done a
Oh, no
bodybuilding show.
kidding.
Yeah. So like
You
he
picked
kind of
me there. I
he
gotta see
knows.
that.
I'll have to send you his bodybuilding
Please
picture.
do. I would love to see that. That's awesome.
But yeah, just like he kind of knew, and also I guess like just over communicating when possible, and then just to set the expectations. Like I might become a zombie and want to just not move, and yeah. But and like just knowing that I'm going to be busy all the time, and like cardio gets higher, like there's going to be double sessions at the gym, so I might have to come over, like just over communicating when possible, and like kind of communicating that sometimes I might not want to communicate at all. So yeah, I feel like, I don't know, and having like the conversation like prior to prep, like about everything that's going to happen, because I had done a season like without a significant other, so I kind of knew what to expect going into it. So I guess I don't have too much advice because he kind of knew, but yeah.
Well, I feel like that's a big piece of advice, especially for some people who might not be super communicative or might just assume that like, oh, they'll know if I'm not in a good mood, that, we've been together for 3 years, so they should know that like I'm okay, but I'm just in this mood or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's super, like it is very important and vital to kind of set those expectations at the beginning, but then also understand that like, hey, this still could change like as we go on. You know what I mean? Like not every prep is the same. Like even for like, you can know relatively how your body responds or how you respond to a prep, but the next prep could be completely different too. So one of the questions from the question that I post, whatever, was how do you deal with being on a meal plan when you have a significant other? And I guess we kind of like answered that to some degree, kind of more focused on the food stuff versus bodybuilding. But I really think it's just like communicating your goals and just saying like, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm really passionate about. And it requires me, having to skip out on that dinner, or, now I don't drink anymore, when maybe drinking was like a social thing that you did with your significant other or something like that. And I don't know, it's so hard, I think, to kind of tell somebody that, because it's really not black and white like that, right? Like, it's not like, okay, and if they're not with it, then screw them, bye. Like, it's not as easy as that, So I don't know. I just think it's kind of one of those things where, like, this is what I'm doing, and, I hope you can kind of get behind it and support me, because I would support you, the other way around if you were doing something you were really passionate about. But is there any particular like advice any of you ladies would have for somebody who is, I guess, more like meal plan related? Like, hey, these are my structured meals. Maybe I've got an off-plan meal on this day, but like, this is what I gotta eat. And like having that conversation with a significant other, or.
I think, well, like for me, it's a little bit easier because obviously Ben is like doing the same thing. We're eating mostly the same foods, but like, for instance, so our preps were this like around the same times last year. We did like, we were in prep at the same time, but mine ended a few months earlier than his. And he actually I'm just dumbfounded that he even did this, but he like made me dinner, something that I could eat, like that was like nice, and like he couldn't eat it, but he was like still took the effort to be like, I'm gonna make this like nice dinner, whatever, for Alyssa, and then I'll just like eat my whatever he was eating for prep. So I think it's like still just making sure that your partner feels like taken care of. Maybe you can like still go out somewhere where you know, I don't know, they can eat something and you just bring your food. So at least they're still getting out and into, you know, some sort of like social setting or, you know, something along those lines. So I think it's just making sure that they feel included, or, you know, like they can still do certain things and you're there with them, but you're just eating different food.
Right.
You know?
And I think that was really nice, actually, like kind of doing a nice gesture like that of, you know, like, hey, like, you know, I'll make you something that you like, but then like, this is my meal and this is what I'm having. And again, it's tough to kind of give that advice, like you're saying, because I think all of us have been with somebody who's at least in like the fit, you know what I mean? Like in the fitness realm, or understands not just bodybuilding, but just kind of being a fit person in general. So I don't know. I mean, I was in a relationship that was kind of like geared towards fitness, but not quite. But then like, I don't know, like it obviously didn't pan out, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of one of those things where, I don't know, there's, if I don't know, they would support you, you know what I mean? Like regardless of what it is. And just like you're saying, just kind of being more inclusive and like, I don't know, maybe include them in your meal prepping and stuff like that. Like make it fun, like put some music on or something, or like talk or converse or something like that. So they do feel included, I think could be very, very helpful with that. But yeah, at the end of the day, like if you're not supported in what you do, is that really somebody that you'd want to be with anyways? You know what I mean? But,
yeah, I feel like, I don't know, that's a big conversation of just like, I feel like me and my partner had the conversation of like, he wanted to be included in like the meal planning. Like he was okay with eating my food. So just like, we had that conversation. And also like, I feel like dates went from less of drinking dates to maybe went and got coffee, because I could have a black coffee all day still. Yeah. So like, and then he could still have his fun coffee or whatever. Like, where I'm the Diet Coke queen or Coke Zero. Yeah. So you could still go in social settings and have your diet soda, right? Whatever, and just like putting that effort in. Like, are you going to be doing that like 2 weeks out? Probably not. But like in the beginning stages, like as long as you're not going to bed at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, like I feel like you can make a few like sacrifices as well to go into the social setting still, even though probably laying on the couch is like what you might want to do. But.
And that's honestly, that's a really good point to bring up too, is like there's sacrifices everywhere in bodybuilding, whether it's like you're sacrificing to do your bodybuilding or you're sacrificing, you know, part of your comfortableness in bodybuilding to kind of benefit, you know, those around you or a partner or a child or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, can I tell you how many times I brought a meal to the freaking playground when Quinn was younger? You know what I mean? Like, you just kind of, like find those balances, and not that like, I don't know, because we always say that like you've got to be 100% in it. Like it's a selfish sport. It's all about you. And like, yes, it is. But it's like, again, at the end of the day, we're choosing to do this. And like, we're choosing to kind of put those around us, like through it with us in a way, you know? So I think you kind of said that perfectly, Kaylee, like being able to kind of sacrifice those little bits, maybe a little earlier on in a prep, or, you know, like, yeah, some days you might have to eat a cold freaking chicken and rice meal. Who, you know, what's the big deal? You know, like just do it and suck it down, and your next meal can be heated up or something, you know? So yeah. We actually got like quite a few questions. So it's pretty,
that's awesome.
Like, I don't know. You never know like how that stuff goes, you know? Let's see. The older I get, the more I don't know how to work my phone. Like I don't know, like I'm over clicking on things, or I get to a spot and like I accidentally click something and it brings me somewhere else, and then I get frustrated. And okay, here we go. What is the hardest, training, dieting, or being on stage?
I think dieting.
Yeah, I would say if we're like given those three, well, I don't know, because like I definitely by the end of like an off season, I'm like ready to be in prep. I'm like I'm so ready to kind of have like the food cut down. Not that like we're eating as much as open bodybuilders, you know what I mean? But like just kind of that like reset of like, I don't know, just switching things up and kind of getting into a different routine of prep. I think I really like. But of course, like the tail end of it, like the dieting does suck. You know what I mean? Like not being able to get through a workout, or like your carbs are literally just to get you through your workout, and like there's nothing else in the rest of the day or something, for sure sucks. But I don't know. I think we can all agree that we do this because we love the training part. So I don't think it's the training that necessarily sucks.
For me, it's the stage.
I was gonna.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel hard in the moment, but I don't know. I don't like. Once you start dieting, like you learn to love dieting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, stage is like if you're literally up there for not a lot of time, and I understand dieting and training is your life, but I don't know.
Is it more of like your own personal like anxieties or what have you, like going on stage, or?
No, because honestly, to be honest, it happens so fast, and you're just kind of thrown up there. I don't really have time to be anxious. I just, out of the three, I'm like, well, I guess the stage is the worst.
The worst, yeah.
If you have to pick one.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, let's throw like off season in there too, I guess. Like, dieting or being in a caloric surplus. Like maybe of those four.
I think the reverse diet, I feel like it's the hardest. Like, so I'd say like dieting.
I'll do that. Yeah, honestly.
I think they're like the couple, like the first like 6 weeks post show is like the hardest.
Yeah. I would definitely. I honestly, I feel like I hear that commonly across the board with a lot of people is like, it's really not the dieting that's hard. It's the post show keeping to that diet that's hard. Cause like, obviously you kind of like let the floodgates open a little bit, post show, you enjoy a meal or whatever, you go out, and then it's like, I mean, of course, like I feel like for all of us at this point, it's nice to kind of think about going back to like a meal plan starting Monday and like just kind of get right back into the throw of things. But like actual application, I think when you're like, well, I don't have a show for another year and a half, so like maybe I can grab this handful of Cheez-Its or something, So yeah, I definitely would say if we're gonna throw something in there, it's definitely like a rebound or a post show. That's probably the trickiest for me. And I mean, I still like to this day I can't say that I've completely 100% nailed like a post show, but is what it is,
Yeah. I think, the reverse diet is hard because it's like you said, Chey, you go out, you get like a meal after your show, maybe even the next day, like have some free meals. And then like, I know with me, like my calories, like my food is increased for sure from like what I was doing, but it still just doesn't feel like quite enough. It's like, it's increased a nice amount from like what you were doing, but at that point you're just like on fire and you're just like burning through the food so fast. It's like, it's just not even enough. So I think that's what makes it so hard.
Yeah, for sure.
I would agree with that. Like 100%. Like
cardio still there too. You know what I mean? It's not like cardio just stops or anything either. It's like your cardio pretty much like not as high obviously as leading up to the show, but for me anyways, it was still like I was doing I think I was doing 60 minutes post workout leading up to the show, and after the show I was still up to like 45-50 minutes. You know what I mean? Just to kind of keep the body kind of still going and grooving and everything. But and then of course too, like there are people that take rebounds completely. Like I think Hunter was saying last podcast, the one before, something like that, like her coach got her right up there post show. You know what I mean? Like there was kind of like no time to be had, and it was just like a really quick rebound. But
certain coaches I think do it differently. Like the main focus is like, we want to get like your cycle back like ASAP, so we're gonna like bump everything up, because that's like the main priority. So I think it just depends on kind of what the goals are. I know like for me, like we want to be able to conceive hopefully in the next like not this year obviously, but like 2026 2027. So like keeping fertility in the back of our minds with any like PED like protocols or like reverse dieting, it is kind of like, all right, like we want to make sure you get your cycle back. So I think it depends on like what the person's goals are, kind of how that needs to go.
For sure. And that's actually a really good kind of subtopic to bring up too, that I don't think a lot of, especially like new time competitors, female competitors realize is like, you're more than likely going to lose your cycle. And not even just from like PED usage, like natural competitors can still lose their cycle just because like in your body and everything, and getting down to like such low body fat percentages that we quote unquote, like we're not meant to, sustain or be at. And like for me, like I've had moments where, or preps where, I've lost my period for 3 months leading up to the show and it didn't come back for 3 months after the show. And like that is like a soul like telltale part of our hormones in our body that's letting us know that like things are grooving. If you've got your period and it's consistent, then like, yep, my hormones are balanced, like everything's kind of working how it should. So yeah, if that's obviously not quite there yet, then that should be the focus, I think, like post show for a lot of women, is kind of getting that back and getting that kind of homeostasis for the hormones and everything. But this time around, crazy enough, this was like the shortest period of time that I've had where my period came back. It was like a month after, I just had it like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, very quick, which is kind of crazy to me. But yeah, that's kind of a big thing to focus on for females, I think. But let's see. I think we kind of already touched on that a little bit. What happens after the big show? What does like eating and training look like? So it really like doesn't change almost post show, right? Like it's just kind of going back into the same things, and maybe a little bit more after the show, and maybe cardio's down a little bit. But at the end of the day, I feel like training, I feel like for me is a little bit different. Like I kind of dial it back the week after. Like I'm not obviously trying to go balls to the wall and hit PR and everything, but I would say aside from that, like nothing really changes post show for me anyways. Would you ladies agree?
Yeah, I feel like mine's like what you said, like the cardio starts to slowly taper. I feel like training, my coach usually has me, I don't know, kind of assess how I'm feeling. If I feel great, because with a little bit of extra food and like the high from the show, like he usually has me train as normal until I start to feel that like fatigue hit, and then we'll take like a detox time, like a detox period. But yeah, for the most part, it's the same.
Yeah. What about you, Jess? Same.
Like I'll probably take a deload, like a mini deload to do labs in a week or two. But it works out well because, like you said, you kind of ride a high for a little bit there. But your body needs a little bit of a break. So
it does.
5 days, like totally off or whatever.
Yeah, that's what we would do.
I feel like that's so hard, like forcing yourself to take that time off and to kind of dial things back. And, whether that is, somebody's deload might be completely taking, 3, 4, 5, 6 days off the gym completely. Or it might be like dialing it back to, maybe 75%. Do either of you, any of you ladies, like struggle with that at all, with like kind of dialing back your training when you feel that you need it, or when you feel kind of burnt out from it? Or
if I mentally, like, I know I'm ready for a deload when mentally I don't want to train. And then I take 5 days off. And I look forward to it, honestly, because it's like, I know that if I get to the point where, maybe I'm getting ready and I'm like, man, I don't really want to train. I always want to train. So if I ever start to feel that, that's my sign, not necessarily like my body aching or anything. It's like where my mind is going. And the second I start to notice those feelings, it's like, okay, it's time to just take some time off, and I'm going to be ready, to get back to it in 5 days, just completely out of the gym. That's how I do it. Because otherwise, if I go in there and train at 50, 75%, like honestly, it's just depressing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like,
you almost feel worse about that.
Yeah.
For sure. Kaylee, do you and Andrew have like scheduled deloads at all, or is it just kind of the same thing where like he allows you to kind of gauge where your body's at?
So like with our check-ins, I give all the feedback on like how I'm feeling, like if I'm not recovering and whatnot. So it's kind of like on an as needed basis. But I think when I first started bodybuilding and just like any sort of fitness, like CrossFit, I was doing doubles every single day until I literally thought I was going to die. Like, so I feel like I used to be at that point where I was like always pushing to the max. And then now I feel like I've gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, I know taking a deload right now is going to make me come back even better. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like you kind of eventually I have like that switch of like, there's no point of like pushing at 65%. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, at some points there is like, but most of the time when you're at that point, you're like, okay, it's better to take a couple days off and then stronger. So
yeah,
I really think that's just like maturity.
Yeah, typically for me, like my coach and I won't really do like a deload, like, oh, just go like 75% in the gym. It's more like if I'm to that point, it's just like, just take some time off, like take a few days off. So yeah.
No, I think that's really neat though, kind of what you were saying, Kaylee. Like, it's just kind of, you have that maturity now to know that like, it's not like the gym's going to be gone. It's not like I'm going to take the few days off and I'm going to all of a sudden gain 20 pounds and be fat, you know, like I think it's truly having the maturity in doing this, that you just kind of know what's best for you, what is going to give you the best progress, and what's going to set you up to kind of put your 100% into the gym and 100% into like your meal plan and stuff like that, to kind of know when to dial back. So yeah, I don't feel like we're all pretty much like on the same page with that. I don't really like scheduled deloads at all either. It's just kind of, if I would say I'm kind of more in line with Jessica. Like if I feel like I don't want to, like, Michael and I are pretty much on the same page with that. We don't want to go or like get to a point where like we're dragging ass. Like we might take like a day or two off and then just get back to it. But
Chey, I was curious, do you and Michael, like, do you train together all the time?
Yeah, we do. So we've been training partner. Well, really, we've been training partners since even like before we got together, because we technically met back down in 2018, and he was training out of a gym in Portland called World Gym, and he was good friend, I mean, still is good friends, but with a now mutual friend named Keith, and they were training partners, and I just kind of came along and got to know them and meet them, and like just like typical like hardcore dudes, just freaking slinging weight around the gym and stuff like that. And I don't know, like it really spoke to me, and they were really cool guys. So I just kind of started training with them and working in with them and stuff. And I honestly, like, I owe all of my intensity and truly like my leg growth to training with those guys back then. Because like I didn't know any better, you know what I mean? I was just following these freaking huge guys that are lifting, you know, putting on like 8, 9, 10 plates on the hack squat, and here I am with like my 2 plates, you know, my 1-2 plates. And just like, but like that gave me the like, fuck that. Like I want to do 6, 7, 8, 9 plates, you know what I mean? And kind of chasing, I still am, like I'm still chasing Michael for weights, but I will say we're pretty much right on par with like adductors. I'm doing a full stack plus some added weight there. So I caught up in the department. So yeah, we've been, but we weren't like consistent, you know what I mean? We weren't like training every day together back then. So it was really when we actually started dating in 2021 that we became like, you know, obviously every training session we're workout partners. But I don't know, like it's crazy because I was just talking about this the other day with him. It's weird that like we're just so efficient with it now. Like we literally don't even talk in the majority of our workouts, and it's just this silent understanding of like, okay, like I know probably where he's going to go up to and wait for the next set based on how he was that previous set, or you know, kind of know exactly obviously where to give the extra push for the, you know, extra spotted reps or something like that, and vice versa. So it's really like, I'm a firm believer in having a training partner for training for those extra reps, and just kind of that getting to that failure point that you wouldn't be able to otherwise if you were doing it solo. And yeah, really just attribute all of my intensity to training with that man because he's freaking massive. And
Chey's intense to train with. I did legs with her, and I think about that session. That was like over a year ago, and I think about that session all the time still. I'm like, Chey and Mike almost made me cry. So, you know.
You know, like, I know we say it all the time, Kaylee, I don't fucking know why we don't train together more. Like, here I am, like, telling Jessica, like, oh, man, I wish there was some, like, more, like, intense training girls around here. And, like, we literally live in the same fucking state. Like, I don't know why we're not getting together. But honestly, the gym that Kaylee trains out of is, like, the best gym that we have here in Maine. Little shout out for it. It's called Jack and Jill in South Portland. The owner, Brandon, is super awesome. Like he's just one of those guys that like he's a lifter, you know what I mean? Like he is a guy that's passionate about the gym and, you know, listens to the members and stuff, and like has really great coming in there based off of like what people are like asking for and everything, and just constantly kind of improving and changing things. And so yeah, I definitely, it's not super far. I mean, it's like 30-40 minutes from us up here in Lewiston, Auburn, but obviously with like the life schedule and everything and work schedule and such, it can be tough to kind of get down there. But yeah, we definitely gotta, especially as you're going into prep here, Kaylee, we definitely gotta get some workouts in.
Yeah, I lift him with Mike the other day, and I was like, okay,
I know.
that pushed me a little bit, but yeah, no, Jackson Jill is awesome. I remember he asked me one day, like, is there anything that we're missing? I remember it was like, we need an elliptical. It was like a week later, there's 2 ellipticals there. I was like,
Yeah.
All right, this is cool.
Hey, okay, I can mess with this. Yeah, no, that gym is freaking awesome. I like our main gym, but I know like anytime like we go down there, like again, Brandon's freaking awesome and welcomes us with open arms. So yeah, we'll plan that very soon, my lady. We'll get a session in. Maybe we can get one more question in.
Yeah, Harrison always comes in here right about an hour. He's like, all right, I know it's time for you to come to the couch.
Yeah. He's like, are you done yet?
Is that your dog?
Is Truffle around?
Truffle's in the living room.
Aw.
I shot her.
Pretty.
Wait, Jess, what's your dog's name?
Harrison.
Harrison?
Harrison.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. That's a good name. Yeah, come say hi.
Can I pick you up? He's too big.
Oh, I see him.
Yeah, he's cute. Look at him wagging his tail. He's all like, oh, look at him. Oh, he's cute. Oh, loves his mama. How old is he? You said he's 7, 8?
Around that. He was a rescue, so who?
Oh, got you.
But he's getting kind of. You can kind of see the gray, even though he is gray.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like,
It's a boy.
anyway, sorry.
No, it's okay. We love dogs. I love it. We talked about it, but I wish we had a dog so bad. But just with the traveling and everything, like it makes it so hard to like, okay, let's do it. Let's get one now, you know.
Do you ever want to watch Truffle? You can.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd be worried that like our cats would beat her up.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, her and cats don't really.
Yeah.
Don't drive, no.
Yeah, we have a dog and a cat, and I'll randomly just find like scratches on the dog's nose, and I'm like, "Yep, the cat got you."
Yeah,
messing with him. Yeah, it's funny.
One question, actually, I kind of asked Kaylee on my own at one point, but I believe this question is for you because it's someone that follows you, and asking about like the waist trainers and the corset. So it's, why do you like the corset? What divisions would you recommend it for, and how it works? So I don't know if like you ladies do like the waist trainers or anything like that. I kind of have like mixed emotions on it. I think like for me, I think I would probably more use it just for more of like core control. You know what I mean? Kind of like throughout like cardio or something, to be able to, I don't know, have something there to not remind me, I guess, that might, pull it in, or, to kind of not suck your stomach in, but just kind of be mindful of like your core through movements and stuff. But I don't know, have you ladies like delved into that at all? Or I know Kaylee has. So maybe you start. What's your take on that, Kaylee? What do you?
So I feel like I've never used them any other season. And this year I wanted to try. I feel like when they were trending, I was like, I just kind of want to try it. And I do like it for the core control while doing cardio, because I do notice. So something I really wanted to work on this year was my like stage presentation. And I do notice I like do not hold my core in at all when I'm on stage. Like I am like out. So like I do like it for the reminder. And I think just like day to day, like I'm kind of remembering more even when I'm not wearing it, because I'm wearing it. So yeah. I do like it for that. I definitely don't think it's like a magic have a Sid Gillen waist. But I do think it helps with the core control. I do like using like either the Vaso Burn or the Squeeze Me Skinny one on it, because like you has Yohimbi in it, so you sweat like crazy. So I kind of like it for that too. But I don't know. I don't think it's necessary, but I don't think it's like gonna harm you either if you're using it for core control and not for like a brace and like and like weakening your back and whatnot. So.
Right.
Mhm.
What about you, Jessica or Alyssa? Have you guys used that or been into using one or?
Honestly, everything you just said for cardio and with the vasoburn, it's just, but like during training or day-to-day activities, I don't just walk around wearing one.
Yeah, I've never gotten into wearing one. I'm not like against it. I think everything that you guys said is definitely accurate. I'm just, gosh, I don't want to say lazy, but I'm like, I just don't want to deal with because I did have one at one point, and like clipping it, like just getting it on, I'm like, I just can't. I don't want to deal with this thing. It's just not something that I think I would like consistently do. But yeah, I think it can definitely have benefits when it comes to like keeping in mind your core and posture and things like that. I've never gotten into wearing it.
Yeah. I mean, I know towards the tail end of what you were saying, Kaylee, like they make ones that have like the neoprene like inserts and stuff like that to kind of help stimulate more heat down there, so you can kind of sweat a little bit more down there, and like maybe it can kind of help condition a little bit with the core. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, like we all know it's not this like magic thing that's just going to suck your, like if you have a naturally thick waist, like that's not going to help you have like you said, Kaylee, like a Sid Gillian waist, you know, like it's not like a magic sort of tool. But I would say what you said is pretty much sums it up perfect. Like it doesn't necessarily like hinder anything. So like if you like it and maybe it's like a placebo effect sort of deal, then like by all means, you know.
Yeah. It's also I think the mental of like being in prep and like sizing down a waist trainer, like it's like exciting. Like it's like, oh, I'm extra small now. Yes. Like
yeah, sure too. It can kind of help you like track, like I mean, same thing with like clothes, you know what I mean? Like when your jeans start to kind of fit a little more loose and you know, you start to notice those like drops or whatnot, it can be encouraging. So yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I think that's kind of majority of them. Kind of honestly, the questions that are here, we kind of talked about them just in general. Maybe this last one, I think would be a good one, but something you know now you wish you knew when you started, or some advice to any newbie competitors. That's a good one. Maybe you can think about it for a minute. No one has to like jump right out or something, but something new then.
It's supposed to be fun. Like don't get so like, I don't know, caught up in what everyone else is doing and what you should be doing. Like experiment and find what you like, and it's supposed to be fun. Because the way we talk about training, like it's not necessarily how you need to train, you know. So it's like I think the time you're just kind of getting started, like just play around. Don't be so like afraid. Don't think everything needs to be so perfect. Yeah. Anyway, that's
yeah, that's a really good one. That's honestly like something I put into kind of like a blurb that I send like new clients that sign on with me, competitive clients, is like we're not necessarily looking like for perfection right out the gate. You know, it's just more consistency and like that you're kind of putting forth the effort to implement these new, you know, new changes and new routines into your lifestyle, you know. But I had a train of thought kind of going on with what you were saying too, Jessica. Just enjoy it. Yeah, I don't know, just like I think, well, from our last podcast, like the whole comparison game, like don't compare yourself to others. You know what I mean? Because especially, I don't know, like how we brought in this whole fit model division, which I'm kind of at the point where like it is what it is. You know what I mean? We have a new division, you know, everything has been new for bodybuilding division wise since it started. You know what I mean? Like there never used to be wellness, there never used to be figure, like it's just another division. But like the reasoning behind it of like, oh, well, it kind of scares off, you know, girls from wanting to compete because they see the bikini girls and think that like, hey, like I can't do this because I don't look like that. And kind of something that you said at the beginning, Kaylee, was like, I didn't even think I could do bodybuilding because I was this chick from Maine and the YMCA doesn't have the right equipment. And like, who cares, you know, like worse and better physiques have come out of worse gyms. Michael and I always say, you kind of create the environment around you. So I would say like just trying not to compare yourself to other people, especially like via social media and, what you see, because I mean, it's at the end of the day, like you should be choosing to do it because you want to do it, or like you enjoy the lifting side of it or whatever. Maybe you enjoy like the stage side of it and like the glitz and the glam and everything like that. And, that's kind of your why, but like, just, I would say finding your why and kind of sticking to that versus like trying to compare yourself to others and, like, oh, I don't look like that, so why do I even bother?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, I agree with that. Like, I feel, the exact same way. Like, I think when I was first kind of getting into it, I was a little bit too focused on, I wouldn't say like I was focused on comparing myself to others or like what other people were doing, but it was more like winning, I guess. Like that was like my main like focus was like, I want to win. And if I'm not, like, why am I doing it? You know what I mean? And that's not the way to look at it. I think like that's where the maturity kind of like comes into play, is like learning, like Chey said, like what your why is, because only one person wins. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like everybody's the winner. So you have to know why you're doing this, beyond just like the competition or winning. So there has to be like your specific why behind it.
For sure. Which, who knows, you might not figure out until a couple years into it.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with all of that. I would say that was kind of like the route I was thinking. I guess I would have a second one too, is as like, I never thought the posing was as important as it is. And like, you can be conditioned, the most conditioned person there, but if you don't practice your posing, like that's something I didn't really like piece together. Like my first, I don't know, even all three of them, like this is the first time I'm like, I've been posing since Thanksgiving, like once a week with a posing coach, and I'm going to pose probably twice. But like, I've been working so hard. It's because I just like, I feel like that's what I was always lacking. Like I can do the training, I can do all of this, but then I never really, for the 1 minute on stage, and practice that. And I feel like that goes like is missing for a lot of people until like the very end. And it's like the week of like peak week, and they're like throwing together a routine and like, so you did all this work to do that. So I would go that route, or again, the comparison thing. Like it's supposed to be fun. Like you don't need to like be searching every single person you're going against and psyching yourself out and seeing what everyone else is doing. So I guess those are like the two that would come to mind.
That's really good, actually. The posing, which again, same here. Like I really didn't invest in my posing until this national show. And when I tell you, like, I don't know, just like how much more confidence it gave me on stage to just kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I know it's supposed to feel like this, like having that extra guidance and whatnot. And like this is a pay to play sport, like you get out of it as much as you invest into it. And yes, it can get expensive, but I think, again, we've all probably made like the early on mistakes of, maybe not necessarily investing in certain spots and points and whatnot. Now being able to, and realizing how much it can, help and make a difference in what you're doing. So,
but even if you just spend more time, like one-on-one in front of the mirror, just like watching yourself pose, like just like nailing down like what makes you feel confident, and you're not like 4 days before, like this is what my routine is going to be, and I'm going to be shaking and nervous doing it on stage. Like you spend all this time towards that, like
for sure. And that would suck too. Like you're saying, that you spend all that time and then just to maybe miss it because the posing, you can't present yourself, because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're presenting this muscle, it's like, if you don't know how to present it properly, like you could have it all. You could be conditioned, you could have the shape for it, you could have muscularity, but if you're not posing correctly, or it doesn't, quote unquote, look right, and to lose it over something like that does seem silly when you could have put in the 10 minutes every day, or, a couple times a week to perfect it, or make it at least look presentable. So it's very good tidbit, actually.
Yeah.
One last thing, caffeine isn't always your friend. You don't need 1,600 milligrams of caffeine in a decaf, people, decaf. Cortisol levels don't be that high. But yeah, I would say that's a pretty good note to end on. I have to get me a meal and get this child into bed, even though I just realized that there's no school tomorrow, so I have to figure that out. So that's fun. Parent life. Right. I don't know. Apparently it's a teacher workshop day. They have so many of those now that it's just like, are you even in school anymore? You know, dude, he doesn't
I'm
have
like, is there a
homework.
holiday tomorrow that I don't know about?
I know. I was wondering that too.
He's in 5th grade and he doesn't have homework. They don't do homework. Were you guys doing homework in like 5th grade? Like I had homework in like 3rd grade.
Oh, that was like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I can't remember that long. I think so.
School now is like way just different. I honestly, like, if we have a kid now, I feel like I will have no idea, you know, what to do because everything's so different and changing constantly for school and kids and everything. But I don't know. So gotta figure that out.
Yeah.
But well, Kaylee, thank you for coming on with us.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it'd be really cool kind of to get you in when Hunter's here too, and kind of get her in the conversation, and yeah, get you in again.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, ladies, have a wonderful night as always. Any plugs, Kaylee? Do you have any plugs? Do you have any sponsors or anything like that you want to throw out there?
I mean, I'm sponsored by my gym, Jackson Jill. Sponsored anyone from Maine, the Power Doc, sponsored this year. Squeeze Me Skinny. Yeah, look, it's all in my bio and it's
Sweet. Awesome. Well, I can't wait to do it with you ladies again next weekend. And until then.
All right.
All right.
Peace be with you.
Bye.